What's up, nieces and nephews? Dad and Uncle Fresh here. Just thought I'd stop in to talk to you a little bit about concentrations of your cologne, and just to help you pick out which way you want to go with it. Like I said, some people get hung up on longevity. Others will love the fragrance even though it doesn't last as long. So that's totally up to you. Like I said, scent is subjective. It's totally your call on which way you want to go with it. But I thought I'd bring it to your attention that these concentrations are talking about the oils they use to make the fragrances. Of course, the higher the concentration, the longer it's going to last. Some of it has to do with projection as well. So the main things it's going to improve on is longevity and probably projection in some cases. So that's something to keep in mind when you're picking out fragrances or colognes. I have examples of some of the things don't have an eau fraiche, because eau fraiche is supposed to be 1 to 3% oils in the bottle. So that's just scented water basically you'd be spraying on yourself. But they do use eau fraiche in a cologne that is an eau de toilette. So this is Versace Man Eau Fraiche, but it's an EDT concentration. So it's just a name thing there that says eau fraiche. It's not an actual eau fraiche cologne. It's just a naming, like a branding thing. So there's a little bit of a tricky spot there, because you'll look at it and be like, oh, that's the weakest thing you can find, when actually that will perform for a good 5 hours, whereas if you had an eau fraiche, it would probably be gone within 30 seconds or so, because it's just scented water, right? So yeah, so sometimes it's a little bit tricky, so I thought I'd give you a general idea on how that's going to work. So the next one up from eau fraiche would be eau de cologne concentration, and I actually do have one. I just purchased this because of it getting a lot of hype for a summer fragrance. This is Tommy Bahama, and it's St. Barts. So yeah, you can see that there. Tommy Bahama, St. Barts. This is basically your beachside margaritas is what you're going to get out of it. But it is an eau de cologne concentration, so it will not last that long. Therefore, you can go heavy on the trigger, and you can douse yourself with this stuff. It'll smell great, possibly for an hour, 2, depending on humidity, body heat, all those things play into factor. So depending on how quickly you burn it off, it smells amazing though. I bought it off recommendations off the YouTube channels as well, and I have not been disappointed by it. It smells amazing. So eau de toilette would be the next step up from eau de cologne. And of course, going to bring up my dior sauvage. So it's an eau de toilette concentration, but because of the ambroxan in here and everything else, this will push off harder and further than, let's say, this right here. This right here is Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum, which is the next level up. A lot of eau de parfums are where you want to be at, because it's kind of the sweet spot for projection and longevity. You'll get the most out of them. But it's for the eau de toilettes, you're looking at about 5 to 15% of the oils in here. Like, this is an eau de toilette concentration. So you're looking at about 5 to 15% of the fragrance oils they use to make up the scent. Whereas in an eau de parfum, which would be this one, you're looking at about 15 to 20% of the oils. So they up the oil ante, but that'll do a lot more for longevity than it will for projection. So there's something to keep in mind when you're purchasing something, like, oh. And sometimes the eau de parfum does differ scent-wise from, like, say, eau de toilette to, they have this in eau de toilette, eau de parfum, and a parfum. And it does have slight variations, like some of them smell more mature, some of them will smell younger. But yeah, that's eau de parfum, like 15-20% oils. So that's gonna last a little bit longer than the eau de toilette. And then you're looking at parfum, which I have right here. You can see it says parfum, Bleu de Chanel parfum. Like I said, it's going to be about 20 to 40% of the oil concentrations in that one. But that doesn't mean they're going to go right up to 40. Some of them just be like, okay, we can put in a little bit more, because they don't want to change away from the fragrance before and make it either denser or change a composition. Because the more oil you add, you're changing the scent itself. So they're pretty careful on how they do that. Another parfum I have, I just purchased it probably about 6 months ago, and it's Armani Code parfum. The cool thing about this one is it's got a magnetic cap. I like these magnetic caps, they're cool. But yeah, there's another parfum concentration, and like I said, it's a little thicker, a little denser. They can play around with their formulas, and that little bit of oil differentiation will make all the difference. Another one would be 1 million elixir. Now, elixirs are pure parfum concentration, so they're pretty much the same concentrations as a parfum. It's a naming thing again, I think, because pure parfums and parfum, the concentration levels. So let's say the parfums that I showed you before, the Chanel and Armani Code, let's say their concentrations are at like 30% of all oils. Maybe the elixirs, maybe they ramped it right up to the whole 40. So I think that's what they did. But another elixir that I have is a very popular one. It's dior sauvage elixir. This one will last you. I tried it a couple of times. Again, look at that. Magnetic cap. God love them. God love them. But I tried this a few times, and it is very potent. This here will hang on and will project like a beast. It will fill a room. So this one, it's a pure parfum concentration again, but like I said, it's something in the composition that they use to make them that will either give you longevity or projection, but this one does both. It stays around for quite a while. It stays pretty linear. It's got kind of a licoricey smell to it, spicy licorice, but it'll stay pretty linear, but it will last you, I'm guessing, like 24 hours, and yeah, it pushes off hard for the first 2.5 to 3 hours, and then it finally dies down. And by dies down, I mean it just becomes to a moderate projection. I've used the 1 million elixir, this one here. I've used that a few times as well, and pretty much the same thing. It's like a more mature, grown-up version of 1 million, I think. But the parfum, the Armani Code parfum, I've used that a few times in the cooler days, and it's a great scent, and it's a magnetic cap. Oh my! I just realized everything here has a magnetic cap except for St. Barts. So yeah, so if you're wondering about concentrations, there's a little bit of an explanation for you to get you started. Like I said, do your research, and you'll figure out which way you want to go with it. If you're looking for longevity, projection, or just a great smelling cologne, the choice is yours. Because I chose all of these based on what I like, because I was just starting out, and it was something for me to smell different every day, so I didn't hesitate. I bought majority of these off retail, which I do not recommend again, because it does get expensive that way. Like I said, I was spending about $150 minimum for one bottle, whereas if I went on the discounter such as fragrancebuy.ca, I would have saved a whole lot more money. And that's actually where I got this guy from. This is like, even though it's an eau de cologne concentration, the smell of it is just freaking amazing. Like, I love this stuff. Like, in the high heat, like say you're going to the beach and you're just gonna sit there, sip margaritas all day, this is what you want to be wearing. Oh, that smells so good. But yeah, so I thought I'd come on here, give you a little insight into what it's like to start a collection. Maybe you're thinking about just buying one or two, just to give you a baseline on whether you're looking for longevity or projection, the way it performs. So this should give you a good idea on where to look. Like say you want a more mature scent. I know that this one here, it's a shower jelly type, but I've smelled the eau de parfum and the parfum, and they are smelling a little bit more mature. So that's something else to consider too if you're trying to pick something up. But this will give you a baseline on what to expect if you see somebody saying, oh, it's an EDT or it's an EDP. Oh, that's a parfum. You'll know, you'll get the basic knowledge on what they're talking about. Like, say you're talking to a salesperson, and you're like, oh, this Sauvage EDP is the greatest thing ever, but there's no projection. So there's something else to consider. So I just thought I'd stop in, give you guys a little bit of insight on that, and help you make some decisions on purchasing a cologne or two. And I will try to put that code in for the code for fragrancebuy.ca. Make it your first purchase through them, and you'll get a $5 discount coupon right off the bat. So use the code, tell them Deadly Uncle Fresh sent you, and yeah, hope you all have a great day. Stay deadly fresh, people.